ADHD is a term that's tossed around a lot these days, but the fact is that many people don't really understand the way we understand it today. Sometimes you'll hear it called ADD, as in attention deficit disorder, and sometimes you'll hear it called ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The fact is, most of us use both terms interchangeably. And what we now know is that this cluster of difficulties that we speak about as attention deficit disorder is really a problem with the unfolding of the management system of the brain. It's not simply about behavior. It's not simply, are you listening when somebody's talking to you? It has to do with being able to get organized and get started. It has to do with being able to stay tuned and listen to something and then shift focus when you need to. It has to do with being able to regulate your alertness so that you can pay attention when you need to and can let yourself relax when you need to. It has to do with regulating emotions so they don't get in the way too much for what we're trying to do. And it has a lot to do with memory, being able to keep one thing in mind while doing something else at the same time with other things in mind. Basically, these are basic skills of managing daily life. Another thing that's important to know about ADHD is it's inherited. Out of every 4 people diagnosed with ADD, one of them has a mom or dad who has it. ADHD runs in families. But there's one thing about this that's really confusing to people, and that is I've seen thousands of patients with ADD, little kids, teenagers, and adults. And what I can tell you is that every one of them has a few things they can pay attention to very, very well. It might be playing a sport. It might be playing video games. It might be making art. It might be doing Lego constructions when they're little, and then when they're older, taking car engines apart and putting them back together, designing computer networks. But everybody I've ever seen who has ADHD has a few things like that where they can pay attention perfectly well and utilize all these skills that I'm talking about, even though they have a lot of trouble in doing the same thing in other places.
Key takeaways. ADHD is a cluster of difficulties that involve the self-management system of the brain. ADHD is often inherited. It can run in families. All people with ADHD have a few tasks or activities that are interesting to them and that they can pay attention to very well.